Hello, I'm Scott Thompson, and welcome to After 10. The Park Geun-hye administration has presented a growth ladder to help small businesses grow into medium-sized enterprises and to help those medium-sized enterprises then grow into large companies. Today on the show, we are joined by somebody who's leading the charge on that front, Han Jung-wha, administrator of the Small and Medium Business Administration. Mr. Han Jung-wha, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you for invite.
Small and medium-sized enterprises are really leading the way for the Park Geun-hye administration's creative economy drive here. Let me first start by asking you what your definition of a creative economy is.
Creation economy is to design, to create more new industry, new business and new jobs through enabling people to realize their creative potential in their workplace. Particularly in the process, the fusion and integration of scientific knowledge and technology and the cultural content is encouraged. So government is providing more favorable environment, such kind of human activity in the creation process.
So why then are smaller businesses so important then in realizing a creative economy?
Everybody knows the creation is important and valuable, but in the process of creation, there are a lot of risk and uncertainty. Who is willing to take that risk? So that's businessmen, entrepreneurs. So businessmen, entrepreneurs, they try their new ideas, and they design to new business model and a new product and test them in the market. So such kind of entrepreneurship and such kind of creative behavior of entrepreneurs and the small businessmen is very important in the creation economy in that point.
And the Small and Medium Business Administration, which you are the administrator of course, is really in charge of lending support, helping, assisting smaller businesses along the way. In what ways, what kind of work is the SMBA doing to help these smaller businesses in the country?
First job is provide the more favorable environment to the SMEs. So relatively the SMEs are in a weak position because the Korean economy is developed by the leader of large corporation. So first job is more of the fair competition between a large corporation and the SMEs. Also, we facilitate the supply of key resources such as finance, human resources, and the technology, even the marketing, the distribution channel. So that's the key job of our SMBA this day.
And since you were chosen as the administrator back in March of this year, I understand you've been gathering ideas, gathering opinions from employees of the SMBA. Tell us a little bit about that process.
I asked our employees to submit their ideas, more their job creative. So I was surprised there are very new, fresh ideas from our employees, about 300 new policy ideas. So we evaluated them and we chose some of them, and already we are executing these ideas.
It's a collaborative effort, and not just among employees of SMBA. You're also asking for ideas and opinions from the public in general, something called idea auditions. Tell us about that process and what it aims to do.
If you have an idea, you submit that idea into ideaaudition.com. So there are 200 evaluators. So if you get a high score at the evaluation, you have a chance to get support from professionals. So design, marketing, and the production. So that product, if that product is successful in the market, you have a chance to get the money as an idea provider. About 5% of all sales. So it is a good chance for ordinary people to start their own business. So I hope this kind of idea audition will be the most favorable business brain sports for our people.
Some of them are somewhat imaginative, fresh, maybe a little bit off or odd, we should say. Can you share one or two of those with us?
So one interesting idea was the dish for buffet restaurant. So buffet restaurant, you put on the cup on the dish, is slippery. Sometimes fall down.
Slips off, right?
So they put a hole in the dishes. You put the cup in the hole, so it is very stable, and no worry about the
food slipping off or the plate
yes,
slipping off.
Yeah.
And
Why
maybe
don't you submit to you?
I'll right after the show, I'll jump online and do some of that. The SMBA is enabling support for entrepreneurship through for a creative economy. What sorts of policies are currently in place to do that?
So we facilitate the more easy startup, particularly the young people in the university student. So they have we provide the angel investment. That means the equity-based financing. So if you too much dependent upon loan, in the case of failure, you have a high burden of failure. So it is one of the key policy. Also, in the case of failure, we provide another fund to restart, turn around. So that's also we have some consulting and incubating and the mentoring program. So young entrepreneurs, they have a little experience of starting their business. So we provide them more practical and idea about starting a new business.
Can you tell us some of the ways or some of the ideas about linking colleges, linking universities with support for entrepreneurship, especially considering the current environment here in the country?
University students, traditionally, they have been not interested in starting their own business. Their main purpose was to get a job, particularly in the large corporation. So, but these days it is changing. Some of the students, they are willing to start their own business as a university student. So we are providing to keep them more, the skills and the knowledge, even attitude as an entrepreneur. We try to program what we call NICE program. NICE means networking, incubating, consulting, and education. So more integrated, more advanced program. So to students get more knowledge and the skills in starting their own business.
When we talk about the younger demographic, we also have to talk about the entire country as a whole, all the demographics for people who may want to start up a business. What is Korea like right now as a foundation for aspiring entrepreneurs?
So Korean economy is still dynamic and a very diverse opportunity for new business. It's a favorable and advantageous side, but these days, Korean economy is a little bit slowed down. So domestic market is not so favorable for new business. Also, there's some unfavorable regulation for startups. So, and in the case of a business failure, the personal cost is very high. It's not easy to restart. So, SMBA is now trying to reduce such kind of business failure cost, also remove such unfavorable regulation for startups.
So what are some of the ways to support some of these newer businesses to make sure that they do succeed and the people who are behind it actually feel confident enough and comfortable enough to go ahead and start up a business?
We providing the restart program. So the people who failed their business, we will try to give a second chance. So provide a loan, and also some kind of training and education system. From the last year, we provide a kind of a healing camp. So the business failures, they suffer from kind of humiliation, and so they are very disappointed. They have no courage, to start a new relationship with other people. So kind of healing camp and the restart education training program. Also, we provide some restarting fund, also the mentoring system. All kind of integrated system is provided to start their new business after failure.
So as the administrator of the SMBA, you of course are meeting with a lot of smaller business owners. What are some of the challenges that they bring up to you that they're facing when you talk to them?
Since I took this position, I tried to have many opportunities with people in the field. So first thing is SMBA, SME people are very sensitive to business cycle, particularly in the downturn. They suffer from sales slowdown and loss of their business. So how to meet the unfavorable business cycle? This is one thing. Secondly, they have a problem of mobilizing key resources, particularly finance, human resources, and technology. Even the distribution channel is most of distribution and the marketing channel is dominated by large corporation. The margin is very high, so SMEs suffer from high margin by the distributors. Also, the high competition among SMEs. Most SMEs are fragmented in the structure. There are too many competitors, so that's the key, the problem, and they have some difficulty in competing in such environment.
And speaking of the challenges, there's something here in the country called the Family Business Inheritance Tax Relief for small businesses in the country. To address it, something called the sliding down system was proposed. Can you tell us about that system and what it aims to do?
The Korean government provided many tax and finance incentives for SMEs. But as the size of the firm grows, they have to graduate from the group. This government provided some new policy. For example, the R&D incentive, tax incentive, after graduation, first year, little bit slow down. Second year, little bit more. Third year, there's kind of a grace period. Even also the inheritance tax is very high. So we provided the tax incentive for $300 million companies. So it's a very good opportunity for those family business start maintain their business without too much tax from the government. That's the new policy. Also, we provide the other the incentive system for medium and large corporation after gradation of SME group. So that's the new policy.
And these days, when you're talking about large enterprises and SMEs, shared growth is often mentioned alongside of it. You said in an earlier interview that if large businesses were to voluntarily restrain themselves in three ways, that we wouldn't have to worry about regulations on excessive growth or economic democracy. What are those three ways that large corporations could restrain themselves that you mentioned there?
First thing is there have been a illegal practice of take the technology from innovative SMEs. So they should restrain themselves. They such practice. So secondly, excessive price down for the vendors. There are a lot of SME vendors to large corporation, but every year they ask the vendors to cut the cost down. Sometimes it's reasonable, but sometimes unreasonable because the cost of raw materials increase very fast. Even the wage increase, but they don't accept such the wage and cost increase in their price. So the third thing is I mentioned before, distribution channel. So large corporations dominated the distribution channel, including big department store and home shopping. So they charge a very high margin, more than 40%. Real charge is almost 50 or even 60%. So small business have no chance to realize the profit in the transaction with the large corporation, which dominated the distribution channel and the marketing system. So we ask them to voluntarily restrain such practice. That's the policy.
Let's talk trade. South Korea currently has FTAs with more than 40 countries. However, small businesses really haven't seen the benefits of those FTAs as much as they would like, or your administration would like, of course. How does the SMBA and how can these smaller businesses better take advantage of the FTAs that are in place right now?
We are providing the information and the consulting service to SMEs to utilize the FTA environment. So also they have some cost and document process of certificate. It's called the origin of production. So we help them to more easily get such certificate. So we have 11 regional centers, support centers. So we are ready to help them for the document process.
And expanding overseas is another way, of course, to grow a business. So what support measures are currently in place to help these companies and their overseas growth?
There are very high risk and cost. So SMBA provided some infrastructure for the SMEs who try to start to export or entering the foreign market. So providing more information and consulting service. So most difficult thing to start the business in the foreign market is to find the good partners. So we take them to the foreign countries and provide them some opportunity to meet new partners. Also provide some fund to participate in the exhibition show in trade show in the foreign market. Also, we try to provide the app to service program. For the small business, the app to service is the most difficult part. Even foreign buyers want to purchase the product from a small business, but there's a lot of consumers complain for poor after service. So that's the main ideas to reduce the cost of entering foreign market.
Providing that support for
Yes,
them so they
yes.
feel more confident to do that. Earlier this year, in your remaining time as administrator of the Small and Medium Business Administration, what do you hope to accomplish? What are your goals moving forward?
We are trying to provide a more favorable environment for the potential entrepreneurs, even the university student and the young people. Also, we try to provide some chance to even retired people. So that's the one most important thing I try to make as a administrator. The second thing is the facilitate the collaboration between large and small business. So co-prosperity between those parties. Also, another important thing is to provide the second chance to business failure. So a lot of potential entrepreneurs are afraid of business failure. They don't want to start this game. So I want to encourage them to join this game and make their the more the successful life in Korea business system. That's the main things I try to conduct as a administrator of SMBA.
Mr. Han Jung-wha, thank you very much for being on the program and sharing your insights today. We surely appreciate it.
Thank you for your invitation.
And thank you, as always, for watching. We'll see you next time after 10.